Good evening. I'm Amanda Weissman, and tonight I have the pleasure of interviewing Juan Faura, a junior finance major with experience in handling different athlete and influencer relations. Juan, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So let's get right into it. Since the very beginning, you've been working with Jerpa, and I believe in 2021, you actually became their first ever director of athlete and influencer relations. So what has this experience been like?
It's been a great experience, being able to work alongside Austin, Bradley, and Nico, along with the other ambassadors, and being able to build these relationships and really get to know the people that we're working with. I think a lot of brands out there will just send product and not really get to know the people that they're working with. So being able to build those connections has really helped us maintain those, as well as getting into the business-to-business space, which I'll touch on later. But it's been a great experience so far, and I have nothing more but positive things to say.
100%. So has there been anyone really cool that you've actually been able to connect with?
Yeah, some of the people, Saquon Barkley, Kendall Verdes from Dance Moms, Chris Paul, who plays on the Suns. So yeah, we've had a lot. And then in terms of like personal here at Penn State, a good friend of mine, Jimmy Dowd, who's on the, shout out Jimmy Dowd, he's on the men's hockey team, Michael Giroux, and others. But it's been, like I said, a great experience, and just looking forward to continuing to build the relationships.
Did you get to do a TikTok dance with Kendall?
I did not. I did not do
it. That would have been great.
But I did do a TikTok dance with Katie Feeney, which I know Katie was on here, I think yesterday or something like that. So shout out Katie.
Definitely. So as you started, I know that you've been more involved with athletes recently. So was there anything in particular that kind of influenced you to make that jump over to the athlete side of everything?
Yeah, I would say, working like with the brand and stuff, and the main role was, building those relationships and having them get the product. Being able to now actually work on an athlete in their own personal brand has been really cool. So, working at Limitless, which is what we're going to get at, being able to see these guys conquer their goals outside of their respective sport is what's been really fulfilling. And so that's what made me want to get into the, more like athlete personal brand and stuff like that.
Definitely. So as you just said, the Limitless NIL agency, how is that actually being an NIL advisor, especially as a student?
Yeah.
That must be a lot, but what's it like?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You're very much like at their dispense whenever they need any question or anything, you're there. And it's been really cool working with, 3 specific athletes, one Zach Harrison at Ohio State, Josh Reinstein, and then Michael Giroux, and being able to work with them and come up with different brand strategies, different content ideas, and also obviously get the brand deals. But that's kind of like, that's cool and all, but it's really about like being able to foster different ways for them to think and maximize their opportunity within NIL, because NIL is more than just getting money. It's about actually building your own personal self and seeing how that could help you maybe professionally, socially, whatever that is.
Have you firsthand seen an athlete already be able to do this with your help from the?
I would say the biggest thing would be, Michael Giroux, for example. We kind of like talked about it when I first started working with him, and now he actually has his own podcast called Stretching with Mike.
Wow.
And so I didn't, directly come up with the idea, and like he obviously did all the work, but we just talked through that, and I was like, Mike, you're already a content creator, you're big following on TikTok. How can you kind of like expand now and do something where you're connecting with other athletes? And so that's kind of like how that happened.
Yeah, you honestly sound amazing at everything you've been doing, but what's so crazy to me is that you're actually a finance major. Yeah. So stepping outside of your comfort zone, what kind of like made you want to do that?
Yeah, being a finance major, right, to be honest, I came from a family that was like a Wall Street type family. So initially coming into college, I thought I was going to do that. But I kind of took the approach of, why don't I just put myself out there and see what happens? Because the worst thing that happens is I either end up at the same spot or I end up maybe at a place better. So putting myself out there and, obviously like in sports, like a lot of kids, and finding a way, how can I break into the industry, because it's super competitive. So, I'm only on a face level, but that's kind of what I did, was just like take that leap of faith and believe in yourself.
100%. I'm very similar in that way, you kind of just got to go for it.
Yeah.
But, not everyone's like that.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to students to kind of, step out of their comfort zone, try something new?
I would say be persistent. I think one of my mentors, David Meltzer, always tells me, like, just be on the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. And I really believe in that. And so what I mean, like, by the comfort zone is like, put yourself out there, try everything. Like, go to a club. If you go to a club meeting and you don't like it, cool. And how does that relate to me? Like, go ahead and build a relationship with an athlete. If it doesn't work out, great. At least you learned that, okay, now I'm going to move to the next person. Just being able to like do that and find different ways to, find what you truly love I think that's what's going to help you be successful.
Definitely. So what would you set, like, what would your advice be to someone that wants to just get involved with like athletes?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, NIL is huge right now, right? It's only just over a year now that it started since legislation. I would say the biggest way is, if you have an athlete in a class, let's start there. Like, go up to them and be like, hey, my name is X. I'm really interested in sports. I know NIL is going on. How can I help you, with your brand deals? I know you're really focused on your sport. So how can I maybe help you outside of the classroom? And I think that's a great way to start. And I know that might seem a little intimidating, but again, that just goes back to like putting yourself out there and like, if you really want to do this, like, you're going to do it. So
No, exactly. So also how like you're able to help them and everything. Has there been anything that you've kind of learned from, meeting so many different people, all these connections, anything that kind of stuck out to you?
Yeah, I would say a big thing that I've learned that I didn't realize about athletes is kind of their like mindset. Like they have a totally different, I feel like they have a very unique mindset from the normal like student, in terms of like they're so dialed in on their sport and obviously they want to do the best that they can. But realizing that, they might not be as involved in things that like you would think, oh, I think they would be very passionate about. Like they're, so focused on one thing. And so learning how to like kind of, again, that goes back to like learning how to like get them out of that like, one singular focus. I think that's what I would say is like kind of like surprised me or I've learned.
Exactly. Wow. So look at you. You're learning, you're teaching, you honestly do so much. So before we wrap up, I am dying to know, what can we expect to see from you in the future?
Yeah, so currently right now, I know I referenced Bradley Crowd, which is obviously he's blowing up right now on TikTok.
Yes.
I'm actually like helping out almost as like his manager. So he has his own management team. But what I'm doing here at Penn State is we're partnering up with like different sports teams. So I know we're doing basketball next week, field hockey, we have planned baseball, we just did swimming and diving, men's gymnastics. So like just being able to get content there and in that space, and then as well as just doing more freelance work. I'm working with like some other athletes like on a freelance basis and trying to get them deals and build kind of ideas like that. So that's kind of the future, and the ultimate goal is to be able to represent athletes.
That is absolutely amazing. I really honestly can't wait to see what you continue to do. So thank you so much for your time tonight, Juan. We really appreciate having you on here. So next up, Jamie and Jace will bring us the latest news from across the nation. We'll be right back.